Thank you, Senator Wyden. We'll go next to Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, for all three of you, for being here. In many ways, Nevada has really led the way in developing new energy capacity over the last several years. And quite honestly, with the help of the tax credits and the Inflation Reduction Act, Nevada was able to attract new businesses hoping to use our natural resources, one of them being solar, geothermal, in the great state. I assume that's one of the reasons, Mr. Tench, you were there. And I am excited to hear that not only has Vantage has pushed for new data centers to be sustainable by design, you're including an AI campus in Nevada, which was announced July 15th. That also seeks to use a closed-loop chiller system to minimize the need for large volumes of water, again, in the West, where there's a lot of drought. Can you talk a little bit about why renewables are important, depending on the region where your data center is, and are you using a renewable source for this data center and the AI in Nevada?
Yes, we are, as you know, developing a substantial AI-focused campus in Trick, just outside of Reno. And the selection of that location was driven by a number of factors, including its proximity to the West Coast as an alternative to California, where things can get pretty expensive and pretty hard to do. At the same time, the mix of energy sources that were available to us through Nevada Power included, as you noted, their prior investments in solar in particular. And for Vantage and for our customers, again, we prefer to use grid and the combination of total cost of ownership, the ease of doing business in Nevada, and the physical location conspired to make it a great location for this deployment.
Thank you. Mr. Gromlich, you've outlined some of the challenges contributing to increased electricity bills across the country. In addition to severe weather and electric equipment constraints, you listed the uncertainty surrounding the current administration's tariff policy and the Republicans' termination of the tax credits. A recent Bloomberg government article stated that when fewer renewables meet more expensive gas and explosive demand from data centers, an upward pressure on rates is the predictable result. Some estimates suggest that electricity bills in parts of the country could jump as much as 60% to 350% over the next decade. My question is to you is, can you summarize current market considerations and why U.S. grid operators are not in a position to turn away renewable electrons?
Yes, grid operators are, they need all the power they can get. And as I've said, not all resources do all of the functions, right? So we do need firm power. And by the way, the geothermal in your state is providing excellent, clean, firm power. And I really am hopeful about geothermal going in many more states to provide that clean, firm power. But the grid operators do depend on it. And in terms of affordability, it's supply and demand. If we take any of these resources out of the mix, that just leads to higher wholesale prices, and those necessarily move down into retail customers' electric utility bills.
And shouldn't the states, working with the private sector, basically determine what that energy mix or that portfolio should be based on their geography, based on their opportunities there? I mean, we have geothermal, we have solar, we have wind, we have battery storage, we have natural gas. That's different than my colleague here sitting to me to the left from Maine. So shouldn't it be driven by that need based on the states, where their region is, what the private sector is wanting to build there? Does that make sense?
I think that's exactly right. Well, that's the structure of the Federal Power Act that you all oversee on this committee and its implementation at FERC. Generation is largely in the purview of states. I mean, it's kind of a states' rights issue. And so this kind of micromanaging of individual power plant dispatch through things like Department of Energy emergency orders or specific targeting of projects for not getting permitting at an interior That's really micromanaging from the federal level, something that really is the state's job to address.
And if we are going to compete with other countries like China and others and grow out our grid and our transmission and really invest in it, that micromanagement should not occur. It really should be driven from the states, the private sector on, correct?
That's right. And, I mean, the reality is we have a very diverse electric industry structure. Your state has one structure. It's very different in Maine and other states. And so each state uses markets or regulation or various combinations of investor-owned and other types of utilities to meet their power demand needs. And that's where the process should take place.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.